It's springtime in the church, can't you tell? The scent of renewal fills the air. All about us are the buzzing of bees of renewal, missionaries spreading the gospel that have attracted hordes to the RCIA programs. Our masses teem with the returning Catholics who had strayed from the faith, all with eyes filled with tears from the absolute reverence on display when they see an altar girl serving the Mass, and ears ringing with the great and reverential hymns of Marty Haugen. The parishes are so full, in fact, that the need for new parish buildings can't keep up with building schedules, and vocations to the priesthood are booming. Everywhere, believers and non-believers can't believe how Orthodox Catholicism has sprung from the unambiguous and clear leadership of the current pontificate. Everywhere, people are smiling and considering Christ. The reign of the Immaculate Heart of Mary is just around the corner. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Often when confronted with terrible news, I have to resort to a sort of gallows humor. In this case, the gallows humor of the man who knows that things are only going to get worse before things get better. And while we approach the 50th anniversary of the Mass of Paul VI, yeah, that's next year, the fruits of the Council and that Mass are now on full display. If you don't believe me, let's check the news that broke yesterday evening. 9 Southside Catholic churches and schools face possible closure and consolidation, posted about 24 hours ago. The Archdiocese of Chicago will make a decision Wednesday night on whether to close or consolidate Catholic churches and schools on the South Side. Students and staff at 9 parishes in Bridgeport, Canary, and Chinatown, of course Chinatown, will learn their fate as part of an archdiocesan, is what that should say, plan to save money and revitalize ministries. This is after a news story broke as an aside earlier in the year that over 100 were expected to be closed by the end of the next decade. Noodle on that one. Bridgeport Catholic Academy has encouraged members to attend a community meeting Wednesday night at St. Barbara Church, where representatives from the Archdiocese will announce what's next for their school and for 8 parishes on the South Side. I understand the economics of the church wanting to consolidate parishes, but my wife and I have talked and we think that more people are actually going to leave the church just because they're not going to want to go to a new parish, said Matt Frazier, whose son attends BCA. And he's probably right, because for some people, driving just across town is too much of a hassle to go to Mass. Frazier said he's not worried about the outcome of Bridgeport Catholic Academy. This school is not going anywhere. I mean, some of the other schools we already know are closing, but we know BCA is at max capacity, so they're fine, he said. 8 parishes in Bridgeport, Canaryville, and Chinatown face an uncertain fate, including St. Anthony, St. Barbara, St. Mary of Perpetual Help, Nativity of Our Lord, St. Gabriel, St. Jerome Croatian, Santa Lucia, Santa Maria Incoronata, and St. Therese Chinese. They don't have the money, and the churches aren't being attended like they used to be. I mean, I was at a Mass the other day, and there was 83 people in church, said John Dundish, a parishioner at St. Anthony. Cardinal Blaise Cupich, friend of this channel, spoke Tuesday about what he called a difficult decision. We suffer from demographic changes. Populations erode in neighborhoods that were once there where the school was once vibrant before, so we have to make some hard choices. That's interesting given the USCCB's call for unbridled open immigration, which is often a driving factor for these kinds of population catastrophes that happen in cities. But let's continue. According to published reports, Cupich already has decided to consolidate 2 churches not on the list. St. Michael will merge with Immaculate Conception to form a new parish in July. A new pastor will be hired to lead the parish and work with the Archdiocese to come up with a long-term strategy for the school and church. Immaculate Conception will stay open to serve the new parish. The Archdiocese said no final decision has been made on the structure of the closures and consolidations. A formal announcement will come at Wednesday night's meeting at Santa Barbara. Again, reminder, that comes in the context of there being up to 100 parishes being closed by 2030, according to an article that's on my sources blog. A link to that is in the description. Frankly, I think it's going to be worse than even that 100 number, though, especially since the Mass and the presentation of the faith is time-locked in a 1960s revolutionary spirit that often defies the sensus catholica. Yes, I know there are often parishes where the new Mass is presented reverently. I was actually married in one. But let's continue. But instead of dwelling on that new Mass versus Latin Mass issue, for now at least, let's ponder the elephant in the room. This is happening in Chicago, the see of Cardinal Blaise Cupich. Now, maybe I don't know better, but if my overpriced doctoral education in public policy and public administration and political science has taught me anything, it's to recognize the signs of an organization in crisis. One of the common sense signs that the administration of a nonprofit or political organization is deeply ill is the practice of promoting leaders who continue to fail. As we know, Cardinal Cupich is one of the leaders of the supposed reforms coming in February at a meeting of bishops on the topic of sexual predation by clerics. Maybe his time would be better spent on keeping his parishes from closing their doors, and to instead leave the solution to this problem to a bishop or bishops who have no history of covering for abusers, like, say, I don't know, the bishops from the African Conference, who have often been criticized for being barbaric and anachronistic in their approach to the Bay Area lifestyle. But this isn't happening in isolation. Yesterday, another story broke that overwhelmed the story of the parish closures. As you know, the diocesan offices of the Archdiocese of Galveston, Texas, were raided by the State Attorney General's office. The raid was conducted by several law enforcement agencies on 10 a.m. Wednesday morning. Their target, the secret archives, which every diocese have, the confidential documents that every diocese keeps about its personnel. Law enforcement was looking for documents related to one Father Manuel Rosa Lopez, a priest who was arrested in September on charges of sexually abusing minors. La Rosa Lopez was accused of sexually abusing 2 teenagers, one boy and one girl, between 1998 and 2001. He has been released on bond with a court appearance scheduled for January. I'll try to follow that story for you. The head of the Galveston-Houston Archdiocese is Cardinal Daniel DiNardo, president of the otherwise useless U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops. Previously, I decided to cut him some slack due to being blindsided by Cupich and the Pope at the Synod of Bishops recently, but if it turns out that Cardinal DiNardo covered up La Rosa Lopez's abuse, then he should be jailed, at the very least, after being laicized. DiNardo recently rejected media reports that he had 2 priests in active ministry in the Archdiocese who had been accused of sexual abuse. In a November 21st statement, an independent lay review board who hears allegations recommended crazy enough that both the priests should stay in active ministry, which is astonishing and should be a scathing indictment of the call for lay review boards to hear these cases. Priests should only be returned to active ministry if they've been accused of abuse, if, and only if, it's been determined credibly that the accusations are false. In the secular realm, we see the weaponization of abuse claims in everything from college conduct review boards to the Kavanaugh hearings, where abuse allegations are and have been used to destroy the reputations of innocent men and women. But if priests are not cleared of charges, they should not return to ministry. Period. All of this is going on, and the USCCB releases a brain-dead statement on racism and continues to yell loudly about military action on the southern U.S. border. The state of things is rotten, and there is no relief in sight. Keep praying for the church and stay close to the sacraments. If you like videos like this, like and share this video, and subscribe and click that notification bell below. You can support my work if you want to through Patreon. A link is found in the description below, along with links to my Twitter, my sources blog, and the Facebook page for this channel. For Return to Tradition, I'm Anthony Stein. Ave Maria.